Hey there you, and welcome to a gigantic Orky war that's about to smash headlong into this Death Corps of Krieg defense line. Now naturally, the Kriegers have a few artillery tricks up their sleeve here, and not to mention the narrow terrain here that the Orks are going to be forced to filter into. Will the Kriegers be able to funnel their Orks into the killing fields, or will Green Might win the fight? Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one way to find out. Here we go then, you lovely internet sausages. Let's let the insanity ensue here. Now, straight away, you'll notice that the Death Corps of Krieg have got a lot of shovels here that they can force on the front line. Now, the Kriegers have multiple layers of defense here. You can see that we've got a bunch of Kriegers with auto guns holding the first line here, followed by a second line of Kriegers with auto guns. However, this time they're backed up by Lehman Russ tanks. And of course, we have a third line of defense at the end, full of Cadian shock troops with las rifles, and this is where the artillery is also. But you'll notice that the Orks do have a few mad lads who are already on the tops over here. So some of the firepower early on in the fight here is getting diverted up to the top. You can see that artillery trying to work its magic here on the Orky masses, and they're just going to get flung off the cliff and down the side. Oh, look at that. It's a glorious sight. Back down onto our front line, though. So the other thing that we also have on the field that you might notice spitting absolute death here are these auto multi-lasers here. I was going to call them auto cannons, but they're not, the multi-lasers. If I put it in slow-mo, you'll see the amount of firepower that these things are just leveling out on that front line. It's absolutely insane. But let's go to that front line here, because the Kriegers are already looking like they're starting to wear thin. The Orks in amongst them. The fight on the front line is absolutely brutal down here. Choppers and Storm Boys are trying to make their way through the wad of enemies that are in front of them as artillery and last fire reigns supreme down upon them front lines here. The Kriegers gain an earlier lead here with terms of kill count as they rapidly approach 100,000. Them artillery strikes are devastating here as the Orks are filtered in to this minute area. We'll notice though that some of the boys can actually survive them artillery hits. Namely, it's the knobs, the mega knobs, and of course the Storm Boys here using their jetpacks to help stabilize so they don't take fall damage. The choppers on the other hand, unfortunately, the choppers just die. There's no two ways about it. They fall towards the floor like a sarcophagus falling out of the sky. At the moment, you can see we've got a very, very sporadic front line here. That firepower, though, has been leveled down effectively into the Orks here. Let's see how we're getting up on the top. So, yeah, a couple of the lads here are breaking through, distracting a bunch of the melee Kriegers. Coming up now to form a defensive line with the shovel to stop the flanks being from taken. But you can see the Orks have got extra reinforcements currently around the outer edge here. Now, it'll be interesting to see. Are they going to come down this way, or are they going to rejoin the center line here? God, look at all them Orks. There's so many. There was like 1 million odd Orks here to begin with. And you can see the charge forward now. This is the Orks officially reaching the first Death Corps of Krieg defense line here. The Kriegers holding firm and resolute. Look at that. That's an insane sight here. Oh man, I love Orks. Orks and Kriegers have got to be some of my favorite matchup in this game, hands down, just for the visual spectacle that you get. And it's also some of the armies that we have the most variety for at the moment. Look at that, the massive surge of Orks coming forward now, smashing into that front line of Kriegers. The multi-lasers laying that covering fire down into them. Again, we've got another big thick wedge of Kriegers with shovels waiting just behind this line should it start to falter. And the Orks are storming forward. Nothing's stopping them at the moment. Even the Kriegers on the front line here are taking an absolute hammering. You can see lots of Storm Boys at the front line. Again, Kriegers are trickling their way forward here. Oh my, I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite battles so far. Look at that, the artillery, the funneling effect, being able to see the massed hordes like this. It's really cool. How are we getting on the flanks, guys? Okay, so these guys actually managed to clear that out. That's really good. How about on this side? Okay, so we've still got a bunch of orcs making their way in over here, but they are getting shot at by last fire from the Cadians on the back line now. You can see that last fire is pretty damn effective here, man. When it hits its target, at least. It's a lot harder for them to shoot at these guys up here than it is for them to shoot down there on the front lines. Now, how are these armies on the flanks progressing? Okay, so yeah, they are actually coming for the wider flank here, which means these guys might be in a little bit of trouble. Unless we keep a bunch of Kriegers at the back, which it actually looks like we have done. We have got lots of Kriegers melee at the back line there. Let's go back down to our front line though for now. Team Meganobs have finally made their way to the front here, and them guys have got an AoE cleave on them, so they'll actually be able to take out many Kriegers all in one foul sweep here. As if the artillery just absolutely obliterate them. Look at that front line. I love how chaotic it gets when the orcs are on the field. That is a sight to behold. This is how Warhammer 40K should be. The Kriegers now at 300,000 kills. They've got 140,000 troops left on the field. This is going to be a tall order for our Kriegsmen here. But the orcs are officially still at the first line though, having taken 350,000. The only problem for the Kriegers now is maintaining that. Because as they start to lose troops, of course they're not going to have as much firepower on it, so each line will be able to kill less and less, unfortunately. Look at that gigantic order. Oh, that's absolutely magnificent. You can see that a bunch of Orc Daka, though, starting to make its way up, adding its own covering fire here to the lines. You'll see these little puffs of smoke in the crowd. Hopefully the artillery can start dealing with them. Actually, looking at it, it looks like some of the artillery may have taken a few bits of damage here. Yeah, some of them are a little bit bloody. You've got to watch out for that. We don't want any stray orc bullets coming through. Now look at this. We've got a big blob of Kriegers making their way up to try and counteract this orky charge from the side. Probably not a wise idea. Hopefully many of them get stuck down here and are able to actually defend the line properly. Seems like we've got a big group over the other side as well. The orcs now are starting to break their way through that Krieger first defense line. The artillery has probably helped out the orcs just a little bit here, being able to disperse their troops in amongst the actual combat lines. But that's not to say that the artillery isn't hurting them a lot. It's causing them a lot of problems. Look at this, we're starting to get a lovely little goo lake down here. This is an actual quagmire. Oh my god. We got swampy reeds. We've got goo and bodies everywhere. It's like that scene from Lord of the Rings. Look, oh my god, the orcs are surging forward. The Kriegers are trying to hold that line. But pretty soon we'll also have the firepower coming in from the Cadians, because I think these orcs are just out of range of the actual Cadians at the back line so far. But yeah, there we go. I think by now they should be getting pretty close to it. They got to be. The orcs are taking so many losses here though. 480,000 and the orcs got through that front line with 145,000 kills under the belt. There's 90,000 Kriegers left. This is starting to look like a tall order now. We really need that rifle fire from the back, the last fire, sorry, from the back lines there. There we go. It's starting up. We can see it now as the orcs start closing in on that gap. Excellent stuff, because them last shots are so deadly in these fights. Again, let's just have a look at these multi-lasers as well. The multi-lasers are insane. Oh god, all them last rounds there have been fired at once. But yeah, I love how these multi-lasers are just peppering the front. The last fire is intense. So many orcs are getting perished now. That's excellent news for the Imperial defenders here. Not so good for the Orkies. Orcs again though, getting distracted on these flanks. The Kriegers committing reinforcements to it. And I mean, I suppose it's a good thing, because it is allowing the kill box in the center to be fully active now with the last fire. The Orks are coming up to almost half losses as well. The Kriegers tried to hold that bitter line. Point-blank shots now are being exchanged. Though the Storm Boys can absorb a decent amount of punishment here. Oh, yes. That last fire is really starting to build up now. Chewing it through at the Orky reinforcements. Now, the other thing is we've got all our lemon russes here. So hopefully this zesty amount of firepower will be able to keep the Orks at bay just a little bit longer. I'm starting to get a bit worried. Then we have got, again, a massive group of Kriegers with shovels. Ready and waiting to take up that mantle of defense. Should the Krieger line at the front falter, the second line, though, is actually really taking a pounding. The Orks looking like they're just chewing their way through it at the moment. I don't know if we're going to have enough firepower. Is our artillery still alive? Okay, yeah, the artillery is still largely alive. That's good. The flanks are holding for now, though some of the firepower is getting distracted. And that's not good news for the Kriegers on the second defense line down here. We really do not want these flanks to get out of control. In fact, there's so many Orks coming in there. Oh my god, there is actually so many Orks coming in them flanks. Jesus, man. We need this front line to either hold all by itself or them flanks to be distracted long enough for us to deal significant damage here to this front line. Man, come on, tank fire. We need that tank fire pummeling them. It's all becoming a point-blank firefight now. Like I said, though, we have got plenty of Kriegers here to hold them in place for a little while. And hopefully the multi-lasers will be enough. I mean, there's practically no way they can miss at this range, right? Look at the flanking maneuver there, that's coming in. It's taking heavy losses. Again, we've got these little groups of Kriegers that are just holding it long enough. I mean, look at all the Orks that are dying in this process here. And that's not even all the last fire, that's just this one side of them that's actually shooting at the moment. Which is probably a terrifying prospect for the Orks at the moment. Yeah, okay, so I think the second Krieg firewall here has pretty much been completely obliterated at this point. The Orks now looking to storm on through to the other side. And again, though, we've only got Kriegers over that side. We've not really got any over here. So the Orks have almost got a straight run right up there now. And they're starting to come around this side. This is not looking good for the Imperial Guard at all, unfortunately. Though it has been one hell of a spectacle of a fight, I'll say that much. So yeah, the Imperial Guard here, despite having the insane defense advantage, left their flanks woefully exposed, unfortunately. Maybe if we had a couple of Kriegers on the corners set to hold over either side, this would be slightly different, but I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen now. The Gadian shock troops here are putting up a magnificent defense. The last fire is obliterating a lot of the Orks. That side has been really slow, though, comparative here. How many Orks is there? Oh, man. There's still so many Orks coming in. I was hoping if we got one of the flanks under control, that'd give us a lot of wiggle room. I mean, don't get me wrong, though. It looks like the Orks are really starting to struggle to actually push in here. Despite appearances, I mean... oh, yeah, the front line is starting to fall, though, now. Come on. Come on. You can do it, shock troops. You are absolutely insane here. You've pretty much got insta-kill weapons on most of the Ork units. Let's look at that. The Orks are starting to pile up corpses. That last fire at point-blank range is really effective. And as long as we can keep the Orks at bay like this, it will be a magnificent victory. Oh my god, they're actually doing this. No way, there's no way they can keep this up though, right? The Orks are going to start closing the gap here. Surely. Now, we have got a bunch of Kriegers in the middle of the shock troops who are going to buy valuable seconds here for the defense. What we don't want is to lose the shock troops themselves. Now, I can see the problem here is that the shock troops have just got to divide the firepower. If that flanking maneuver wasn't there, or if the front line wasn't here, this would be a very different story at the moment. I mean, this side is just an absolutely exemplary template here for the rest of the Imperial Guard to follow. This has worked out really well on this side. They're able to keep the enemy at bay, they're laying on that firepower, and the enemy are paying a big time for it. Now, this side is starting to crumple ever so slightly. Our last 17,000 here are putting up a monumental defense. I can't believe it, quite frankly. I mean, are they going to get this under control? What are we at? 300,000 orcs. Okay. 300,000 orcs against 17,000 last guns. I mean, it's not 17,000 last guns because there's a bunch of Kriegers in this. There's got to be at least 10,000 last guns here, though, I think. I can't remember the exact number that I put down, but I think it's 10,000, which is still significant because that's almost 10,000 insta-kill rifles. Again, look at the center line. Magnificent control here. Volleys of firepower coming out. That's actually keeping the Orc horde at bay. There again, we're starting to get that outflanking maneuver now on this side. But we haven't yet committed lots of the Krieger reinforcements, so they are able to hold them still a little bit. And we've still got artillery somehow on the field here. This is absolutely magnificent. A masterclass of defense here coming out of the Imperial lines. Just when you think it's all over, it's not. I mean, they've almost killed 100,000 orcs. Oh my god, they're actually doing this. There's no way, right? There's no way the Imperials can pull this out of their hand now. 16,000 troops. I mean, if they can keep holding this flank like they are, they certainly can. Again, look, you can see though that the firepower is diminishing ever so slowly. The orcs are just getting closer and closer, inch by inch. Every death carrying them that 1 inch forward until they're able to close that gap on that front line. And they're making a damn good go of it. Look, see what I mean? Look at this. An area that previously they were not able to get into. They've now managed to edgelord their way forward. However, oh my god, this is the last wave of orcs. No. Oh my days. The orcs have run out of reinforcements on this flank. There's a gap in the center line. The entire army in the center line is slowly getting dissolved. We're coming down to 100,000 orcs. 10,000 Acadian shock troops holding one entrance, while being completely outflanked, I might add, are holding back the Orky waves. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, this might be GG for the orcs here. I can actually not believe this. The Imperials, they've turned the battle around. The entire center line is completely dissolved. The orcs have got nothing left but to try and force all their troops around this horrible little area. Oh my god. And there's still artillery left. How are you even still alive? The orcs had guns. The orcs had guns. How are these dudes still alive? I mean, some of them have hardly even been damaged at all. I am actually genuinely shocked that the Imperials have managed to turn this fight around here. Like, that was looking like a for sure win there for the orcs. And then just out of nowhere, absolute last death here has come forth. I mean, just look at this for a line now. Oh my god. Just bodies everywhere. No matter where you look, there's no floor left. I mean, quite literally, there is no floor left here. There's just Krieger and Orcs corpse everywhere. Speaking of Orcs corpse everywhere, 40,000 left. And the bodies are starting to pile up here. I mean, I think it's safe to say at this point the Imperials have won this. Have we got any blood lakes? Oh, is this? Oh, little Timmy, I'm so sorry. It's not quite deep enough to get out a rubber dinghy here. Have we got any others? Let's go check out this side. No, oh, that's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's all of them. That's all she wrote there. Speaking of all she wrote, look at all the orcs that are piled up here as they tried to push down that flank. getting shot at by last fire. Turns out then that them few Krieger shovelmen that we had were literally just enough to hold back the Orks long enough for the firepower to do its work here. And ladies and gentle giants, I think we're just going to hit a little time-lapse camera here and watch the Orks slowly dissolve. We'll be back in a second. All right. Here we are, ladies and gents. 600 Orkies. 500. 400. 300. 2. 1. It seems to be slowing down. Yeah, it's probably because there's no Orks left. And there, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's safe to say the Orks have been defeated. An absolute masterclass of defense here by the Death Corps, just eradicating the Orks there. I mean, that is absolutely pulling it out of the bag there. Congratulations to the Death Corps of Krieg, commiserations to the Orky Horde, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you had a blast. I know I did. Please do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace.